Hey, Miss Marion here. We are doing Unit 3, Lesson 3. Make sure you have your workbook. Let's get out and let's go ahead and go through this. All right, so on page 30, let's think about some graphs. So will you write down which one doesn't belong and why? So you can use the sentence frame, graph blank, doesn't belong because of blank. Go ahead and answer that question and then come back to me. All right, so we can look at this one. Well, why does this has straight lines, that's why it doesn't belong. B couldn't belong because there's a gap that's in there. C doesn't belong because it makes this kind of sideways U. D doesn't belong because it's only points. Or E doesn't belong because it makes an upside down frowny face kind of thing. So is there a correct answer in all of this? No, there's not. It just gets us thinking about as far as what we need to go ahead and do. So our questions for today is, how can I use the relationship between features of functions to help me be more efficient in writing features? And then how can I tell if a maximum or minimum is relative or absolute? So this is kind of a little bit different. So make sure you kind of pay attention and write down some notes in your workbook. All right, so today we'll be refining your skills of analyzing functions and using interval notation. And then sometimes you'll need to estimate values for this task. So kind of remind yourself, yeah, we're going to go ahead and estimate some stuff kind of going along with this. All right, so we should be on page 31, and we're going to look at this table. It says, analyze each function to find key features. Write each feature using the appropriate mathematical notation. And then the table represents a discrete function defined on the interval between 1 and 5. So let's go ahead, let's kind of do some stuff. So go ahead and pause and then come back to me as far as the answers that go along with these. All right, so again, we're talking about a table, and we want to go ahead and kind of figure out different ways. So when we're given a table like this, when we have our domain, we want to go, and I'm going to make this bigger, so hold on a second. With our domain, we want to specifically say what our numbers are actually, what they are. And remember, domain is all of our x values, and what are those specific values? So we're going to start with curly brackets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close with a curly bracket. So because it's from a table, it's not a graph, like a line kind of graph. Those are specific numbers. The range is our y values. Same kind of thing. We're going to start with our curly bracket. We're going to say 5, 10. Let's make it a little prettier. 5, 10, 40, 80, 160. And again, we're going to close with that curly bracket. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the maximum. So our maximum, what's the highest? And we're looking at y values. It's y equals 160. And then where does that happen? It's where x, or our number that we put in, is 5. So this is our maximum. And notice how it's this point here. Where is our minimum? Where does that happen? Or what is that? Our minimum is where it's y equals 5 at the number that we put into that function is 1, and that's this piece down here. And then some other things we want to talk about do we have intercepts? So this is where, like, we were looking for where the line crosses the the y-intercept. Right, is going to be like 0 comma something. X-intercept is something comma 0, right? And do we have any on here? No, there's none. Where is it increasing? And this is done in interval notation. So it increases from 1 to 5. And these are the x values that we're looking at. So we kind of wrote them down this way. And then does this increase? No, there's nothing as far as increasing, so there is none. So again, this is actually writing information about this table, which is a function, or it's an equation kind of thing, fancy equation, and that's where all this pieces of information comes from. So we're also going to go ahead and this is talking about couch money, interest repayment. It's a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to skip this one and we'll come back to it, okay, later on. All right, number 5. It's on page 33. Here's our table. The table represents a continuous function defined on the interval of 0, 6. Will you go ahead and, we've kind of done this before, will you go ahead and figure out where the domain, range, maximum, minimum, intercepts, intervals of increasing and intervals of decreasing. Okay, so go ahead and do that and then come back to me. All right, domain, x values goes from 0 to 6. Range, y values, what's the lowest? Lowest is -3, and then it will go all the way up to 20, and it does include those. Where's the maximum? So where's the highest on, so this was our range, right? Where's the highest number on there? Well, that's 20, so we're going to say y equals 20 at x equals 6, right? Where does it happen? Where is the minimum? Well, that's -3. So we're going to say y equals -3 at x equals, where does that happen? +1. And then we want to look at for intercepts, right? So remember for the y-intercepts, 0, something. Let's do 0, and then something. X-intercepts, that's where the line crosses the x-axis, so it's going to be something, 0, right? So pretty much we're looking for things where there are zeros. So I notice I have a 0, 2, okay? That's going to be my y-intercept. And then I also notice that we have 2, 0. That is my x-intercept. And then where is it increasing? Where are these numbers increasing? So it will increase from 1 all the way up to actually 6. So this whole entire thing is increasing. So we're going to say 1, and I'm going to put a parenthesis there because I don't know where it changes around 1, but I do know it goes all the way up to 6, and I'm going to put bracket. And then where is it decreasing? Okay, so we know that we have, it goes from like, so right at the beginning, if we really look at it, here is where it decreases, right? So we know that it does start at the 0, but I don't know where it changes at 1, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and put that bracket along there. All right, example number 6 on page 34. Go ahead and look at this, fill in what you know, and then come back to me. There's a couple of new stuff in there, okay? All right, domain. Domain are all the x-axis, the x pieces of information. Notice how our x's, they are here, right? So we're going to go from 0, and it's going to include. So because the endpoint's right here, it does include stuff. So our domain starts at 0. Oh, sorry, need to include it. So bracket, and it goes all the way up to 21, bracket. Where are our range y values? So it kind of goes from here all the way down to this one. So we're going to start with the bottom one, and I don't know where, because it's kind of like a curvy kind of down there. I don't know where exactly it happens, but I do know it does happen somewhere. And notice how it's 1, 2, 3, so probably 3.5. So I'm going to do a parenthesis because I don't know where it actually changes. And then it's going to go all the way up to +10, and I know it does include the 10 because there's a point up on the 10 on the y stuff. So like it goes like this, like from here all the way down to here. Maximum, do I have a maximum? Yes, I do. So where is my maximum? My maximum is y equals 10 at x equals 0, right? That is my actual maximum. Do I have a relative maximum? Yes, I do. This is my relative maximum. Okay, where is that actually happening? Well, it's y equals 4 at about, well, yeah, we can say x equals 8. Okay, and then do I have a minimum? Where does it go the lowest? That's this guy, right? So we're going to say that, and this is kind of, we kind of have to guesstimate on this one. So I'm going to think it's about negative 3.5. Where does that happen? Probably about where x is about 18.3. And then do I have a relative minimum? Kind of, in a way. So that relative minimum is actually this weird kind of stuff here. So it is at y equals 4. So that's kind of where it's happening. So, and we're actually looking at, like this guy, at, and we're going to say at x equals 6. So that's the relative minimum. Do I have any intercepts, right? So I do have one at 0, 10. That's where the line crosses the y-axis. Notice how, let's put this color in yellow. Is this my y-axis? I guess I should have done that a long time ago. Here's my x-axis, right? And then where is my other intercept? Where does the line crosses the y-axis? Notice how it will be about 14.7, 0. Where does it increase? So it's going to increase at between 6, 0 and about 18.3, 21 with the bracket. Decreasing is from 0 to 6, parenthesis, and 8, 18.3 with our bracket, or sorry, with our parenthesis, because that's a guesstimation. Is this a function? Yes, it is. Can I take my pencil and it doesn't only touch my pencil once? Even at this piece right here, notice how it only touches once because that open circle says I don't have a point at that y, where that x equals 4. And so, yes, it is a function. Now, is it discrete, continuous, or discontinuous? This is what is considered discontinuous because it breaks at that same kind of area. So this is what is considered discontinuous. Number 7, we're going to go ahead and skip. And then again, we're going to go ahead and come back to it. And then also on number 8, I'm going to go ahead and skip this one too. So we're going to actually come back to all of these different ones. So make sure you understand the relative minimum, relative maximum, and then we've kind of talked about all the other kind of stuff. All right, so here's some takeaways on page 36. We're going to use the vertical line to mark the intervals of increasing and decreasing. We're going to use graphs to help visualize intervals when given a table, an equation, or a story. And yeah, the graphs do actually work. We haven't done the graph as much, but we will do more. Okay, so make sure you write these down on page 36 somewhere. That goes ahead and it helps you out. Here are tables, and I want to go ahead and make sure we understand how to fill out the first A table. What we're going to do is we're going to take the x equals 0 and put it into the equation. So we're doing -2 times 0 minus 5. And if you put that in your calculator, what do we go ahead and get? Oh, that's going to be -5. And then we're going to put 1 in there. We're going to say -2 times 1 minus 5. So we have -2 minus 5, that is -7. And then -2 times 2 minus 5, -2 times 2 is -4, minus 5, -9. Then we have -2 times 3 minus 5, so we have -6 minus 5, which is -11. And then we have negative 2 times 4 minus 5. We have negative 8 minus 5, and that's going to be negative 13. So this is going to be part of your homework, so that's why I want to make sure I went ahead and went over that. And so make sure you understand it. If not, rewind and go through it again. But you do need to understand this. So for today, we are doing Check Your Understanding for lesson 3. And I hope you have a good day. Thanks. Bye.